Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you there. Hi, I'm Wade Hampton, also known as Wade Hate. I'm a vampire?
So Wade, tell me more about Art Brut Film.
We started it 16 years ago in 2009. I have, since I was a little kid, wanted to make films. As a painter and an illustrator, you know, you get to work in isolation by yourself. You have control over everything. But when you get into any kind of group situation, that tends to go out the window, because I used to be in an art group called Famous Dead Artists. And it was good, but it was also too many cooks in the kitchen. So I decided I wanted to start making films, but I wanted to be in charge. So I started Art Brut Film. And it's kind of been a little bit of a revolving roster, but there's a few people that have worked the whole time. But it's just me trying to scratch the surface of filmmaking. I mean, I've done so much stuff, but every time I do it, I feel like it's the first thing I've ever done. I'm trying to learn what I'm good at, what we are as a little collective are good at, and to be brutally honest, what we can pull off cheap and not stress us out, because filmmaking is hard. So Art Brut Film is for fun. We're just trying to push artsy, fartsy, and I don't really get too concerned if people get it. I mean, I know what it is, but you know, I come from the school of my Lord and Savior, David Lynch, who is a big fan of what I think he learned from Kubrick, which is let it be, don't explain it. And Kubrick always said, I want people to leave the theater and think about this film for the next 2 or 3 weeks. If you tell them what everything means, they're done. They walk out and they never think about it again. I consider David Lynch the greatest living artist, because I don't think anybody as one artist has influenced so many mediums. And I don't think anybody's influenced television bigger than David Lynch. But I think the first film that really hit me from him that I watched a bunch of time was Wild at Heart. Uh-oh. I remember really thinking, God, this is really fucked up. And I discovered Twin Peaks later, because that came out in my 20s and I didn't have a TV, and you know, I was probably out getting drunk every night and stuff. I always tell people, if you literally have not watched anything David Lynch because you're so convinced he's too weird, I always tell them about Straight Story. I always say it's literally Disney G rated, but it still feels David Lynch. The lead actor, it was his last film, Sissy Spacek. I mean, come on, it's got everything you'd ever want. I would start with Fire Walk with Me because it's so insane. Jump into season 1, season 2, and then go into his masterpiece, which I think is season 3. I think that's David Lynch's best film, is season 3, because it's 18 hours long, and I always think of it as one giant movie. And I think God bless Showtime for giving him the money to just go nuts. But yeah, I think if you don't like Straight Story, just give up. I did a film last year called Destroy the Bones. Terry Mott, my friend Terry Mott, starred in it. And she told me when she read the script, this is the closest I'll ever get to starring in a John Waters film. And I never thought, and I'm not trying to compare myself, but it really kind of rewired my brain, because I started going back and rewatching all of John Waters. And Female Trouble and Multiple Maniacs, which you have over there, were my 2 favorites. And he is such an inspiration to me. When he was young especially, and he was using a news film camera to shoot. I mean, what I love about those old films, it's like you could tell they got the biggest light they could find and just turned it on. So everything has a harsh shadow. They didn't give a shit, they had an image. Andy and I always talk about Art Brut Film has a motto, which is it in focus? Hit record, which is usually what we say. And you might watch our films and say, yeah, maybe they should spend more time on lighting. I think that's why a lot of artists' earliest work is their best work, because they're not trying to impress anybody. They're just so excited they're making something. When I make my stuff, I kind of think, what would John Waters and David Lynch do? My quest to make a feature film, I've been obsessed with how short can it be and be considered a feature film. So Googling, I discovered Black Girl, which was amazing. 59 minutes. You think, is it a cop-out to make a film for 59 minutes? I would think that, but then I watch that and I go, no, it's perfect. You don't want another minute because it's perfect as is. Batshit crazy. Have you seen this?
I have seen.
God dang. You just got to make stuff, because I used to visit my dear friend Clark Britton, who died this last year. He was days away from being 95 years old. Best artist in Wichita, hands down. My old professor at WSU. And he was brilliant in everything he made. And he was like Lynch, that he dabbled in all the mediums. And he said to me once, Wade, we're artists. 90% of what we make is crap. And I said, you feel that way about your stuff? He said, yeah. And I'm like, dear God. But he was always yelling, just make stuff. Just make it. So painting, when it's working and you're kind of breaking through, is the most exciting thing in the world creatively. But most of the time it doesn't, and I'm depressed, and I think my stuff all sucks, and I don't even know why I bother. The film Vampire Christmas I just made is a promotional film for an art show I have coming up at local roasters December 5th and 6th, called Vampire Christmas. Last year we did 2 art shows, one Halloween themed, and then right after it, a Christmas themed. And I enjoyed it so much I was trying to jam those themes together, and I thought, Vampire Christmas, that sounds good. And instead of just doing a promo, because I asked Andy to play Wade Hampton, and I would play Wade Haight, because we've done that before. If we were going to get my little film group, Art Brut Film, together, I thought, let's make something longer. I thought it was going to be 5 minutes. It's now 17 minutes and 45 seconds. So it was just a reason. I call it throwing paint, just to try a bunch of different ideas and see what works. So if you get a chance to check out Wade Haight Hampton's Vampire Christmas on YouTube, please look it up. Need to rewatch this. Lynn Ramsey. I think I did a post about this, that all the new art I was loving was all made by women, especially music. But then every time I'd see a film, I would, like Fish Tank, Andrea Arnold. But I'm like everybody else, you're watching a movie, you want to pull it up to see who's directing it, or if they wrote and directed it. And 9 times out of 10, when I'm into it, I'm like, a woman directed this, or wrote it and directed. You can just tell. It's always got this wonderful sensitivity that dudes never. We're all so fucking dumb. And it's all clunky. And when it's got a real beauty and a subtlety, women are doing it. Not that they can't do brutal, but like Lynn Ramsey. It's an anti-war film about World War II. This film will break your heart into a million pieces, but god damn. Yeah, come get this. Jesus Christ. It'll stick with you. And yeah, just see it. The Northman is hands down my favorite Robert Eggers film. I was blown away. I saw this on the big screen, and I thought it doesn't get much better than that. So that's a film in the last few years that really blew me away. I don't go to the theater enough, that's for sure. Where is it? Right. I fucking loved Longlegs.
I saw a beast rise up out of the sea with 7 heads and 10 horns.
This set such a mood for the early 90s, and anything that's wood paneling, snow, Nicolas Cage, creepy, I'm down. So if you haven't seen this, Jesus Christ, see it. Weapons. I thought Zach Kreger's Weapons was incredible.
Where are our children?
We have a lot of emotional parents here. I think it's best if you keep some distance from this place.
But I rewatched it and I still loved it, but it lost something. Where this, on the second viewing, I think I even liked it better, which I didn't think was possible. one of the things I know for me, and one of the reasons I'm so obsessed of hopefully making a feature film, even if it just sits on YouTube, I feel like a film for an artist can withstand decades, maybe, hopefully. If you upload it in 4K, maybe 30 years from now, someone can still watch it. But in my career, I've done easily over 1,000 drawings and paintings. And I mean, a lot of people own them, and I'm very thankful for that, but they're in their house. They're not out there in the public, kind of in the zeitgeist. And I think the thing about films, especially if they get any kind of audience, my God, they transcend the artist and they can kind of live on. And I find the culture, which goes back to our love of old school horror, the culture of people who really worship films and want to go to these Comic-Cons and want to meet these stars and all this thing, very exciting. And I think you can create one film and you can create a whole community based on that film. And you don't get that with a painting. And I fucking love painting, but you don't usually have Comic-Cons for the people that like Van Gogh's Starry Night. But you sure as hell will have people want to talk about Maniac or some crazy ass film like that. So films are bigger than the artists that make them. And I think they'll live on, hopefully, forever, the big ones. So thank God for the Scorseses and stuff that are trying to grab some of the smaller films. And Criterion, who are trying to pull some of these films out of obscurity with the old negatives and everything and allowing you and I to watch them forever. But anyway, thank you to Kevin and Vortex Souvenir and CINE-GENIC. Vortex is my favorite place in town in lovely and beautiful Wichita, Kansas. And I just want to say thanks for listening to me ramble on and try to figure out what to say. And I should probably get back home because I'm an introvert and this is the most I've talked in probably 6 months. Thank you. Bye.